This interview is with Mrs. Gladwyn Bush, better known as Lassie. This is the second interview with Miss Lassie. It is taking place at her home in South Sound on Thursday, July 15th, 1993. The interviewer is Heather McLaughlin for the Cayman Islands Memory Bank. Okay, so we're at Denham Hurlston and Jane Jones.
Yes.
Now, Jane Jones is an unusual name. Where did the Joneses come from?
The Jones came from Wales. Her father came from Wales. He was James William Jones.
Oh. James William Jones from Wales.
That's where he came from.
And they lived in South Sound, did they?
Yes, yes. He married Mary Elizabeth, daughter of Christopher Charles Bush.
Oh.
Mary Jane, because
Jane.
just put cut the Elizabeth out because it was the Hines that married the Mary Elizabeth.
Oh, okay. So now we're at this generation now with Denham Hurlston.
Yes, yes.
So Jane now was the daughter of James William Jones and Mary Jane Bush.
They were the parents of 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
We used to call her Aunt Jane. She was a midwife.
Mm-hmm.
I was her last child she brought in the world.
Oh, okay.
She lived, her daughters say she was over 100 when she died, which I would not have doubted it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
She had a sister named Kathleen that they called Kitty.
Oh. Mary Jane did?
Yes.
Okay.
And her brother was James, who immigrated to Spanish Honduras and settled there.
Okay, so that's probably why the Jones name died out then.
Might have been.
Yeah. And so Denham now married Jane.
Yes, their eldest child and eldest daughter was named Kathleen, and they also called her Kitty.
Okay.
She died somewhat early in life.
Catherine or Kathleen?
Kathleen, I think it was, you're correct. But they called her Kitty just the same.
Okay. Was she their only child then?
No, no. You know Ella Latta?
Yes.
Her father was next to Kitty.
Oh.
James. He was named James Hurlston.
Mm-hmm.
He was the age of my father. He was born 1860, the year my father was born.
Okay.
Then, you know Jerry Borden from Savannah?
Yes.
His mother, Agnes, was the next.
That would be James Boden's grandmother then?
Yes, yes. And then they had the daughter. Oh, she was a pretty person. Lizette. I don't know how you spell that, but she was very, very blonde. She had a beautiful face.
Yes.
Everybody used to call her Aunt Lizette. You know, the crowd like my age, you know. And the last child was named then Susanna.
Susanna.
You know, just wait. Let me catch it right. Susanna was the third. Yes, she was younger than Lizette. Aunt Susan, we used to call her. She was James Hines' wife.
Okay.
Yeah. And the last one was named Nettie. She died about 20 years ago. Well, we all called them aunts. They were nothing in a sense to us, but
it was just a courtesy title.
yes, you had to be full of manners in those days.
So that was Denham Hurlston's family. Okay, and then who else was there?
That was the end of his family.
Yes. That's 11 families.
Yes,
And you
it's
mentioned
two
there were
more left.
13, yes.
It's two more left.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. You had Billy Hines. Let's count these right again.
Oh, okay. This is Thomas Jr. then.
Yes, you put Thomas Jr.
Okay.
Hudson, married Rowena Eden from Pedro.
Ravina?
Yes, I think that's the right name for her.
Okay.
Their children was, their eldest child was Laureen, a son.
Mm-hmm.
Their eldest daughter happened to have been my husband's mother, Delora. And then they had Minnie. She married a Georgetown Borden.
Baden? You
She
said?
married a Georgetown, a Borden.
A Baden. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ashbert was the second son. Harold the third. Then she had twin daughters, Elsie and Nettie. That makes it 12.
That's 12. We only have one to go.
Let's see which one now we have missed out. We have Denham Bush, do we?
No, we have Denham Houston, but we don't have Denham Bush.
You don't have Denham Bush.
Yes, we do. Denham Bush is number 6. Married Adilla Hines.
Yes.
Yes, we do have him.
Let's see.
Cross Bush?
Yes, it was his name. You know Ramona? You don't know by chance Ramona Bush?
No.
Mm-mm. Maybe you heard about Leon Bush or Jimmy Bush that passed away last year. You haven't heard.
No.
I see. But you know Alex Pendleton.
Yes.
Well, it's her grandmother.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And Amber Watler?
Amber Butler, she came from East End.
What a beautiful name, too.
She's Phoebe Spence from East End.
Yes, I know Miss Phoebe.
Her aunt,
Oh,
her father's sister.
okay. Well, then she would be related to my husband, because he's related to Miss Phoebe.
Oh, you see, well then.
We're all connected.
Yes, wherever you turn. That's the way Caymans really
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
Well, then you have her Amber and Cross.
Yes.
Well, their oldest child was Helen. She was married to Jim McCoy from East End. Her son name was Ashley.
Ashley.
And the last child was Violet, which is Alex Pendleton, which was Alex Pendleton's mother.
Pendleton's mother.
She had 3 children only.
And that's the 13 families of South
Yes,
Town.
and I made a mistake. You know, Julia Archibald.
Yes.
Forgot her mother.
Oh.
Her mother was Amber's sister, Margaret. She was married to the brother of Cross by the name of Clark.
Clark Bush.
Clark Bush.
Clark Bush married Margaret Watler.
Yes.
Oh, so 2 brothers married 2 sisters.
Yes.
I see.
Right. And Tom Hulston, Harold's father, And his brother Billy married two sisters from Pedro.
Yeah.
That's how it went.
That's how it went. I see. And what about this Clark and Margaret now? What children did they have?
Let me catch you straight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember her very first son's name. He died in Cayman Islands. I can't remember it at the present.
Yes, okay.
But she had two daughters, Julia and
Mhm.
Cretty. I don't know if you want to spell Cretty, but that
Cretty.
Cretty was the name that was given her. Her daughter, Dean, was here a few
Mm-hmm.
days ago from America. She's married in America.
Mm-hmm.
And she came to see her Aunt Julia.
Is Julia still alive?
She's yet alive.
Because I went to see her a couple of years ago, and she was talking like she expected to pass away next week or something.
She would fool Julia. Julia has a knack of playing a part, you know, you mustn't go by her.
She was so weak, and she could hardly talk, and she's not long for this world.
And Julia would do it.
That's good.
Maybe I'll remember
Yes,
the
if you
name
remember.
of her son. She had two sons. One died very early in life, and the other one went to Cologne and settled. But I can't remember their names at the present. I'm sorry that I can't.
That's all right. You've done
But if I
fantastically.
remember, you
give
give
me a
me
call.
your phone number.
Right, I'll write it on that for you.
Yes.
And you
Paul,
give me a
and
call.
I will give it.
Now, Miss Lassie, I wanted to make sure I had this straight because I wrote it down in a hurry the last time.
Yes.
Your father was Richard Ellsworth Bush.
Yes. And my eldest brother was named right after him.
And then your grandfather was Richard Christopher Bush?
Yes, it was Richard Christopher Bush.
And then your great-grandfather?
Was Denham Christopher.
Denham Christopher.
Uh-huh. My grandfather was my great-grandfather's eldest son by his first marriage to an Elizabeth Parson in 1828.
Now that was Christopher Charles Bush.
No, that was Denham Christopher's marriage to an Elizabeth Parson, November 1828. But she died 6 years after marriage, leaving two children. Of course, you know Clarence Thompson.
Yes, yes.
His grandmother, Ellen, was Richard Christopher's sister.
I see. And now, so where does Christopher Charles or Charles Christopher come into it?
Charles Christopher was the eldest, was the father of Denham Christopher.
Denham Christopher. So he was your great-great-grandfather.
And he was the father of 10 children, if you wish to write that down.
Okay, because we know a little bit about him.
He was married to Mary, but I can't tell you her surname because I don't remember hearing her surname. But I can tell you she died when my father was 8 years of age. He remembered her quite clearly.
This is Richard Ellsworth now.
No, this is Christopher Charles, the first Bush.
Okay.
The first Bush. You just put the first Bush.
First Bush, okay.
Yes.
I get them all confused. So Christopher Charles died, or his wife died? Which one died now?
His wife died 2 years ahead of him. He didn't die in Cayman. He died in French Harbor. He left the island.
In French Harbor in, was that, Antigua or somewhere?
French Harbor is down Spanish Honduras.
In Spanish Honduras.
He went down there to see his youngest son, but when I name them, then you will understand. His eldest child was a daughter, Ruth Elizabeth.
These are the children of Christopher Charles Bush, the very first Bush.
Yes. The first white man settled on South Sound. Well, history says that.
Yes,
so
yes.
I can't condemn it.
Ruth Elizabeth.
And then it came Denham Christopher, which was my great-great-grandfather. Then William Christopher came, which settled in Georgetown. When he became a man, he had two Christophers, he had two Elizabeths.
Is he the one that told me that he called the children by the same name because if he called one they didn't come, the other one would come?
The other one would come. That was always his answer. And then it was Mary Jane, which was Jane Hulston's mother.
I don't know how you can keep this all straight in your head, Miss Lassie.
Clark Edward, which was Julia Archibald's grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then it was Thomas. I don't remember his second name, but Thomas was his first name.
Mm-hmm.
After Thomas came the one they called Margie.
Margie.
She must have been Marjorie.
Mm-hmm. But they called her Margie.
Yes.
Okay.
Then after Margie came James. I don't remember his second name either.
Mm-hmm.
After James came Mary Elizabeth, who married the Hines from Belfast, Ireland. That's where the Hineses came from.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll tell you where
Now
James...
that's 9. You need one more.
Just wait, let me see. Just name them again.
Ruth Elizabeth, Denham Christopher, William Christopher, Mary Jane, Clark Edward, Thomas, Marjorie, James, and Mary Elizabeth.
Yes, you need another son. Let me see what happened to him. William. You got William?
I got William Christopher.
Yes. But I may remember the other one. He had 6 sons.
But it was a son. Okay.
He had 6 sons and 4 daughters.
Okay, well, I think that's fantastic that you remember all of them. That's wonderful.
But I'll remember the name of the other one.
Now you
James and Thomas. James used to hear about the Bushes coming from Honduras. Well, they came from, they are descendants from James. He went down to Spanish Honduras.
Oh, James went to Spanish Honduras.
Yes. Thomas went to Belize.
Oh, and they started the family down there.
Yes. James had a big family down Honduras, I say, but Thomas was the father of only 3 children. His grandson married my brother Nino in 1941, and I met him in 1943.
This was the Honduras side of things.
This Belize
side. Now, when they talk about the Bay Islands, is that the same as Spanish Honduras, or is that different? Near it.
Or I made understand so.
Yes, because I know that a lot of Caymanians went down there to the Bay Islands, and I just wondered.
It is some little difference between that and the Honduranian territory.
But it's all in that general direction.
Yes, it is.
Tell me about the Hines now. I know that they are one of the earliest families here because they're on the old map that was done in 1792 or something.
It was
and they came from Ireland, you say?
Yes, he came from Ireland, and he came south sound.
Yes.
He fell in love with the youngest daughter of Charles Christopher, and they married.
So Mary, the daughter of Charles Christopher, married the very first Hines that came here.
Yes.
Okay.
He was William James Hines, as you may see on the record with the slaves.
Yes.
I think it was 1 or 2 slaves he had at that time.
Well, that's fascinating. And you don't have any idea how he came to Cayman? What brought him here? Or?
It was one or two tales concerning him about the ship leaving him, about he leaving the ship, but I never did ever get it straight. But concerning Charles Christopher, they say that the ship let him off. But I often heard my father say that he could never have run away when he came to knowledge, because he taught 3 of his sons' navigations, were 3 captains in his family.
That's right.
And he had all the instruments of navigation. He had the books and he had the knowledge. So he taught William, he taught Denham, and he taught John. John Berkeley was his other son.
There, we got it.
Una Bush's great-grandfather.
Oh, I have to go and see Miss Una today.
That was the name of him. I knew it was another one. And he taught the 3 of them navigation. And they were sea captains.
Do you think it's more likely that he was shipwrecked or something?
He came here on a man of war. He was a lieutenant on a man of war. I believe he was a devil and they put him ashore. That's my belief.
That he got into some
Rather
kind of trouble.
than they throw him overboard, they put him on the deserted island. Something happened.
Something like that, yes.
Something.
Yeah.
You would never learn the truth. You know, there are people in this island that has ancestral background with nasty tales.
Well, I guess we all do. I don't suppose there's any family that doesn't have a skeleton.
They don't want to hear one word about great-great-great-grandfather. He was an angel. He dropped down, you see. I get the biggest sport in the world off of some of the people.
Yes, okay. Well, that's fascinating, Miss Lassie. Now, before we waste any more time, or use up any more time, we're not wasting it, I want to make sure that I get that lovely song about the sailors. Can you say that for me?
Okay, I will play it for you.
Oh, you'll play it for me?
Yes.
Oh, this is great.
I played enough to amuse myself.
Oh, good.
They sail the seas with arms of fear.
Fantastic. That's beautiful.
Mhm.
You wrote the song, the words and the music.
Yes, yes. Whenever I write, I'm going to sing you one of my hymns, if you
Okay.
don't mind it.
No, I would love to get
This
that.
is the one that... Now, you just listen to that. That's going out of my mind. Oh, I'm sorry, I trouble your what call if I can't remember that. Are you building a mansion in glory from the work you are doing on earth? Will the builder, the creator of heaven and earth, say the work you sent up
Miss Gladwyn, that was beautiful.
Thank you, dear.
When did you compose that? Long ago?
By a friend.
Uh-huh.
She got me to tape it for her, and she was a big church worker. And so she carried it to her church, and the choir sang it for 2 Easters straight.
Mm.
Let us follow our Master who knelt on the ground, 'neath the shade of the old olive tree, with his sweat dripping down, turned to blood on the ground. He prayed, not my will, but thy will be done. He knelt on the ground. He knelt on the ground, and in anguish of spirit he cried, Thy will, not my will. Oh, my Father, forgive. I was sent here by thee to die. How the angels surrounded him that died on the mount, and the tears, how they watered the ground, all in glory were set, for the sight they beheld, Jesus kneeling alone on the ground. He knelt there for you. He knelt there for me. And in anguish of spirit he cried, Thy will, not my will. Oh, my Father, forgive. I was sent here by thee to die.
That's beautiful. That is really beautiful.
I was sung in Minnesota, and when a crowd of them went to Israel, I think it was sung up there by one of the members.
Oh. So you haven't left the island, but your songs have and your paintings have. Now you're going to follow them. That's
Yes,
wonderful.
I have.
Yeah. You have any more?
I have several, but I got them taped and not paying too much attention now. I have one which is very beautiful, and I hope I will visualize when I come to the end of time that I will see what I have written on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've come to the end of my time. I have to leave.
Oh, I forgot to do.
And she always quarreled with me, and she said to my father, if she don't stop playing by ear, I don't know what's going to happen to Gladwyn. Because the minute she get anything, it goes in her ear, and she's not looking at her notes.
This was Mildred Rankin saying this to your father.
And my father said to her, you leave Lass alone. If she want to play by ear, let her alone. And all my sisters' solos, we used to sing duets together.
Yes.
I used to sing the alto. I didn't sing soprano then. And my sister Myra had a lovely soprano voice.
And
she sang all over the island.
You sang in church, did you?
Oh, yes, we sang in church.
And did your father send you to this Mildred Rankin to learn to play?
And my sister learned the vocal music.
Now, is this the lady that lived up on South Church Street there near...
No, she lived where the community hall is.
Oh, okay.
Her house was there.
Did she have a little school there where the community hall is?
Yes, yes.
I think I've heard her name before.
Her name. It was two sisters. Well, it was the family.
Yes.
Her parents is buried up at South Cemetery. But it was her and her youngest sister, Mary. Very nice people. But I think they have passed on now.
Oh, I see. But she taught you after you had learned.
Plenty of their music.
Yes. I understand that was something that all the parents wanted their girls to learn.
Yes. Crochet, embroidery, and music.
And music. Those were the ladylike things.
Yes. That was what they took.
Well, that's nice, yeah. Okay, let's hear this one now. This is another one you wrote yourself, is it?
I wrote it for a Mother Day meeting we were having. Myra and I sang it when I first composed it. Just let me catch it, remember it. That's not the right key on it. I think. say your prayers and lay you down to sleep. But those happy days are over. Those voices they are still, yet I know they are waiting for me on those high hills. Those memories are so precious, of those days that past and gone. Yet I hope to clasp their hands again in the land of that great beyond. Come, children, it is summertime. Come and wash your hands and eat. Then bathe yourselves and say your prayers and lay you down to sleep.
That's lovely.
That's just the words she used to tell us.
Yes, yes. Now this is, you sang this song with your sisters,
Yes,
did you?
yes. I had
Yeah?
that composed a long time ago.
And you
And
sang that for them.
most every mother
Would
liked-
say that
we
at supper
would,
time,
we
yeah.
would sing it.
Oh, that's
well.
lovely. Yeah. Well, let's go back and sit. Well, those songs were beautiful, Miss Gladwyn. I knew that you had composed the one about the sailors because you sang that in Pirates Week one year, didn't you?
No, it was a different one I
That was
sang.
a different one.
I
Oh.
had that recorded.
Uh-huh. So you've loved music as well as painting and
I
everything.
love music.
Uh-huh.
I love music. I plays a little guitar. I plays a little violin.
Mhm.
I tried the flute, but the flute beat me.
Oh.
The flute needs a long breath.
Yes. Now, you had an organ when you were growing up, did you?
Oh yes, we had an
Mhm.
organ.
That's not the same organ
No,
right
no.
there.
It was a real high one, the reed organ, you know,
Oh,
that you pump.
yes, that you
It
pump.
was, but the dry worms took
Got
it.
it, yes. This climate is very hard on
Very,
musical instruments.
Very.
Where did that original organ come from? Do
From
you know?
America.
From America. And did your father bring that here, or your?
Dr. Roy bought it for his sister-in-law. Well, you wouldn't know her. She was an Amy Borden.
Uh-huh.
But she grew sick, and after she grew sick, she didn't bother much with it. And he offered it to my father at a pretty good, cheap price in those days.
I
And
see.
my father bought it. And it lasted years and years.
And all your sisters learned to play, did they?
No, just Myra learned her vocal music, but she didn't bother much with the instrumental.
So it was you.
It was I.
So you seem to be the one who got all the talents in the family.
I wouldn't say that because I tell you concerning Myra, I don't think was either seamstress in the island could ever.
I see. She could really sew
She
well.
could sew. She could bring it out like it was in the picture.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
That's a wonderful talent. I don't know how people like that can cut the thing right.
Right, but
just
she
look at the
could
picture and
just
cut
look
it.
at the picture, and she used to cut so perfect and do the loveliest sewing. I know seamstress, you know Georgette Ebanks.
Yes, yes.
Anita's mother.
Mother,
Well, her mother, Viva, was a renowned seamstress. And it was no time that Viva got an order for a wedding dress that she didn't call my sister Myra down to get ideas from her.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
So she liked to do designs as well, did she?
No, but she could always give her an idea of how I would do it if I were you. Now, she wouldn't tell her to do it.
No, she would just give her suggestions.
Yeah, give her suggestions.
And who taught her to sew?
Well, it seemed like that just came natural. My mother was also a good seamstress with
Yes.
men's clothes, and she used to do her own, so I suppose that was just
She
a
just
natural
inherited it.
inheritance.
I suppose that pretty well all the clothes had to be made, though, didn't they?
Yes, and it was plenty of people in South Sound that did nice sewing.
Yes.
Oh, make no mistake, I don't think it was a house that was not seamstress.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
And they would...
the loveliest crochet and
Yes.
embroidery the South Sounders could do.
Did
I didn't do it because I had no mind for anything.
you weren't interested in
I
that
wasn't
side of
interested.
things?
No, but Myra used to do the loveliest crochet.
And she would do the sewing for your whole family, would she?
Oh, yes, she would.
see.
She would be. I have a machine that was bought when Myra was a tiny baby.
And you still have it?
I still have it just as a souvenir because the shuttle is all worn off, like, no good.
But that would be something nice to have in the museum.
Yes, it would, but they're not going to get it.
Is this the kind now that you turn the handle? Yeah. I learned to sew on one of those.
Yes.
Yeah. They're easier, I found easier to manage than the electric ones.
Oh,
The electric
right.
ones tend to run away with you.
Right, I quite agree.
Not that I'm very good at it either, but
So my sister would have been 90 years of age, March gone, and that was bought when she was a baby.
well, so that's a really old thing then. That's wonderful. Now, you mentioned to me the other day that your grand aunt, Sarah Linwood, was somebody that had quite an influence on your...
Yes, I loved Aunt Sarah, and Aunt Sarah loved me. She was a sweet person.
And she was your mother's...
She was my father's mother's sister.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she was from the Bush side.
No.
Her father's...
She was from... I don't remember the real surname of my grandmother by my father. I don't remember, but Aunt Sarah married a Jamaican by the name of Linwood.
How did she meet a Jamaican?
They came down.
Oh.
And she's Reverend Talmadge. She was Reverend Talmadge's mother's mother.
Oh, okay. All right. So everybody is connected.
Yes.
And where did she live?
Oh, she lived right in Georgetown. Her home is still standing.
Oh.
Her grandchildren has kept it up lovely.
Oh, that's nice. And where is it?
One of her great-grandchildren is in the immigration, I think, a girl she is.
Works in immigration, you mean?
Yes, I think it is in the immigration. She works. Quite a brilliant girl she is. And then, of course, Reverend Talmadge, he made his way in the ministry.
Yes, he's a fine person.
Yes, he is.
Now, how much contact did you have with this Aunt Sarah? Because
how much contact?
Yes, because South Sound and Georgetown in those days, Georgetown was a long way.
But then, when I was 16 years of age, the year that I was 16, my father bought me a bicycle.
Oh.
And I certainly pedaled that.
So that bicycle took you everywhere you wanted to go.
I didn't know he was going to give me the bicycle for a birthday present till he never rode it. He towed it up, walked it up, from Georgetown. Desmond's brother, Ronald Watler, was a lawyer then in those days, and he had the agency from England for the Elswick's bicycle.
Oh, my.
And he used to bring them in, get them brought in. And I didn't know my father was going to buy it till he wrote. He said, here's a birthday present.
That was a wonderful birthday present. My goodness.
because at that time, plenty of young people on South Sound had bicycles.
Oh, I see. So he wanted you to have one.
Yes, and he bought it.
So girls as well as boys had them.
Oh, yes, quite.
So that meant then you had wheels, as the kids say, and you could go and visit and all this sort of thing.
But we seldom ever went Georgetown, that we didn't go to see Aunt Sarah. And it was different cousins. You remember Annalie? Annalie Henderson? Or you weren't there when she was alive?
No, I don't think I know that name.
Well, her mother was named, well, they used to call her Muggy. What was her name? I can't say. But Aunt Muggy. And then her sister was Mrs. Roberts. When I used to do a bit of nursing, I nursed Miss Roberts for about 5 months. But she was William Bush's daughter. Those two was William Bush's daughter.
I see.
He went Georgetown, married and settled in Georgetown.
Okay.
And his son was Baxter Bush.
All right. Okay.
And, well, you hear about Captain Laura Body.
Yes.
Well, his mother was also one of the sisters.
Oh, I see.
And they all used to come South Sound looking for their cousins, and their cousins would go looking for them. But Aunt Muggy, it won't last now. She used to give me. I remember Annalie was her daughter, and she says, Annalie, when last did you see that devil of a lassie? Annalie would say to her, but Ma, you can't be forever making Lassie do what you want her to do. All right, she says, you wait till she come back here. And boy, she would give me a tongue lashing. And Muggy was another person.
And her last name was Henderson?
Yeah, she married a Henderson.
She married a Henderson. Well, that would be like Carol Henderson, that family?
Yes, she was his aunt by law.
Okay. All right, so we know.
I think his father and her husband were two brothers.
Okay, that's fine. So was there a lot of friendship, shall we say, between South Sound and Georgetown in those days?
The Georgetown and the South Sounders, because the Bushes, Georgetown, never forgot where they came from.
Yes.
You see, the Bushes, Georgetown, the Bushes, William and John Berkeley went down and took their mother's land in possession after she died.
Oh, I see.
And they settled in Georgetown.
So that's how the Bushes got to Georgetown.
Yes, that's how they came.
But they never forgot their roots.
They never forgot the birthplace, their birthplace. They always used to come up.
Yes.
Not that I remember, but what
you've been told. Now, what about the Bushes in West Bay? Are they connected?
They came, I do believe they came in, emancipation was declared. And some of the Bushes slaves went down to West Bay and married. They had a feeling that they came from Charles Christopher, but they do not, because 3 of his sons married in South Sound. 2 of his sons married in South Sound, 2 in Georgetown, and 1 went to Spanish Honduras, 1 down to...
So they were all accounted for?
Down to British Honduras.
So you think that these were...
Belize. And I never heard about them having any outside children, those first original Bushes. Man, they could have had them, catch me straight, and they could have hid them well. But I always heard my father say that it was 4 of his slaves that went down to West Bay and married, you see.
And they took the name Bush because they belonged to Bush.
They carried the name of their master. But I tell you what, it was some pretty people.
Yes.
Down West Bay, prettiest faces some of those girls had, and some of them are still there with those pretty faces.
Well, I think that mixtures make the most interesting people. I
Yeah,
think
it really
just trying to keep the line pure is
Yes.
not very wise.
I don't think so either, but the mixture makes the
Makes it beautiful.
beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, you know
And
that from
that's how
mixing
it
your
is.
paints.
You know what happened one evening? McKeever came up here to find out where he came from. I think he got annoyed with me too. And I told him just what I told
Yes,
you.
yes. You can
I
only tell them
couldn't
what
tell
you
him otherwise.
No.
You
no.
see, I couldn't swear that his great grandfather wasn't from one of the Bushes because I couldn't say it was
You weren't
name.
here then, so you
I
don't
was
know.
not here.
No.
So that was
Yeah.
it.
Well, we just say what we think we know and leave it at that.
Right?
Now, let me just get back a minute to when you left school. You did a little nursing, you just said.
I spent 3 years in Dr. Horter's office. And Dr.
Oh.
Horter was very instructive.
Yes.
And what he learned me, I really retained some of it.
Yes.
And I mind several elderly people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I closed 2 or 3 of their eyes.
Oh, no.
So I found out that was it.
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Roberts, as I tell you,
Yes.
I think she was named Ethel, you know, if I'm not mistaken, but
This is Muggy?
that Aunt Muggie's sister that was married to the Englishman Roberts.
Mhm.
I think he used to pose as a surveyor and also making out documents. You may
May I
read,
find his name? Mhm.
you may find his name on several documents.
Okay, I'll have a look at that.
They had one son. His name was Richard.
Mm-hmm. So how did you happen to go to work with Dr. Horter?
It was from the war. It was the Mistress Andrews here, a holiness
Yes, I've
minister's
heard
wife,
about this lady, yes.
and she was a big nurse to say
Yes.
from England.
Yes.
And she got in tow with Dr. Horter, and she started classes. And there was quite a few of us went.
And Nurse Annie went at that time, did
Yes.
she? And
Yes.
Lily Yates?
Mm-hmm. And so we all went there, and after that, Dr. Horter told me to continue in his office.
And how did you get along with Dr. Horter?
With Dr. Horter, oh, he and I really got along good. He was just a nice old soul.
Yes.
Oh, he was nice.
And what sort of work did you do for him?
Well, all like tending to a patient when they came in, and but he didn't allow nobody to go at his medicines but himself, you know. He never done. He would tell you what he was mixing and explain to you what he was mixing, how he mixed it. But no other hand went into those medicines
But him.
but him.
Well, that's
He
good.
was a doctor during the World War.
Yes.
The First World War, that's what
So-
caused him. He was a bit deaf, you know.
Yes.
But I did not have any hard time making him understand anything I was saying. If you didn't go bawling like at him, if you went in a moderate voice,
Yes.
he would understand every word you say.
Well,
And I learned that, and that was how he and I got along.
So you worked along with him, and then you had some private cases as
Yes,
well.
I did. I had several.
But you...
I-
Sorry, go ahead.
I slept for 13 months, 3 weeks, 2 nights with Marianne Brandon, which Yona Bush was taking care of her. And I closed her eyes, and she told me not to make anybody. She says, Lassie, don't make anybody touch my body when I pass on. I don't want anybody but you.
Oh.
And I'll give you the joke of it. I was also working in Miss Eric's shop in the day. It was just in the night I tended to
And
her.
who is Miss Eric now?
Eden Cook Boden's mother,
Oh, yes, you told me that the other day.
Ethel Boden. And Yona came that evening around 2 o'clock. She says, Lassie, I believe, because Marianne is going this time. I says, Yes, you say, in the day she would have a Jamaica woman tending to her. So when I went there, I could see that it was just a matter of a short time because she didn't know me or anything. So when she passed away, I closed her eyes and muffled her and covered her, and I said to the Jamaica woman, I said, well, we'll have to wait for an hour now to see how her body will respond before we start to clean her up and dress her. She jumped up. Huh? Femi, why you for say, Mum? Femi, touch her? No, Mum. And she sped away.
Oh, she was afraid to touch the dead person.
I said, I laughed. I said to myself, I said, well, I know you're a something. And then I remembered what she had charged me so often.
No one but you to touch
No
her.
moon but me. So when I got over, which I had to watch at that time, and when the time was up, well, you could see that she wasn't going to pass off anything. I fixed her up and I dressed her. Up comes the Jamaica woman again. Lord, Miss Lassie, you have all dressed up.